This segment of The Exchange is sponsored by the Michigan Wildlife Council. Michigan's forests and waters are naturally beautiful and home to a bounty of wildlife. All throughout the state, conservation efforts are underway to protect our wildlife and natural resources for current and future generations. In fact, the Michigan Wildlife Council has launched a campaign to showcase some of those efforts. And this morning we are joined by Carol Rose, former chair of the Michigan Wildlife Council, and Bob Strek from the Grand Rapids Steelheaders. And first off, tell us about this great campaign, Carol.
I would be happy to. The Michigan Wildlife Council's public education campaign is focusing on the importance of wildlife conservation and scientific wildlife management here in the state of Michigan, and how it benefits not only the wildlife and the habitat that they occupy, but also in many ways we haven't even considered the rest of us who enjoy Michigan's great outdoors. And whether you camp or you hike or you fish or you bike or you're a bird watcher or pursue, finding wildflowers, which is something I love doing, we all benefit from the conservation of our wildlife and natural resources. So today and for the next several weeks with you, we're going to be focusing on profiling some of the really great stories that focus on individuals and organizations and scientists and wildlife professionals who are working together to ensure that Michigan's wildlife and our natural resources are not only here for today, but here for generations.
Yeah, and truth be told, it just makes good business sense. If you really have to find the lowest, common denominator, right?
No
it's
question.
About business.
No question
Smart.
about it.
Okay, so enter the Steelheaders. Tell me about what you all are doing to really call attention to the health and the conservation of Michigan's lakes, waters, and streams, right?
Well, recently, last week, the 21st, the Grand Haven Steelheaders and the Grand Rapids Steelheaders got together and received from the Department of Natural Resources 59,430 young salmon from the Wolf Lake Hatchery. We put these into net pins, 2 net pins at Chinook Pier in Grand Haven. They're there for the next 3 weeks. They're fed 3 times a day, and the DNR will check them out, and once they're released, once they give an okay, they will be released in the channel, and they have a short swim to Lake Michigan.
What do we know about the quantity and the quality of the steelhead in our lakes?
Well, the steelhead salmon. These were salmon.
The salmon that you just
salmon.
Yeah.
The salmon, the Chinook salmon are going down in numbers. This may be the last year that we have net pins out. For the simple reason we have natural reproduction taking place in the rivers. This was just pointed out also last week, Thursday evening, in South Haven by Jay Wesley, who's a manager of the southern portion of Lake Michigan. They have an ample supply of reproduction taking place in the rivers, and that is enough for the forage base in Lake Michigan.
In addition to things like this, refurbishing or replanting, I guess, you guys do a lot of education. And tell me a little bit about what you're working on in that regard.
Well, for one thing, we've got 2 areas of education going on right now. One is salmon in the classroom. We work directly with 3 schools and directly with 2 others. In November, we will get eggs. I go to the Wolf Lake Hatchery for established schools. I will receive 200 eyed eggs. And actually, there's 2 dots on the egg itself. Those are the eyes. And the educational process takes place. The kids will see these eggs in a 55-gallon aquarium, and they'll see a line form. That's the backbone. By the end of November, if they look closely at the egg, they can see the formation of a fish inside. At that point, the young salmon will shuck the egg husk, and they're translucent. At that point, they have an egg sac on their belly. They have enough common sense. They'll go in the corner, hide. At the end of December, first part of January, they'll swim up silver side, black body, and they'll look for food.
And this is
fascinating.
critical to teach. If we're going to preserve it, we also have to have them understand the value of it
Yes.
and what's happening so that they too can enjoy it for future generations. Well, if you would like to know more about the campaign the Michigan Wildlife Council has launched, go to our website, WZZM13.com. We'll link you to the site, and you can see all the terrific conservation efforts that are underway as well as the campaign. Thank you both for being here. Good to have you.
A pleasure.